So in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about doing background research on interviewers. And again, this is something that I don't see a lot of people doing, and it's something I also didn't do too much in the beginning. But when I started to do it, I started to become a lot more comfortable in the interview, because I kind of knew a few things about them, how they are, what they had done before. So it actually worked pretty well when I was doing interviews, when I started to do a little bit of research about them. So one of the first places that I started to, do that, one of the first things I actually start to make sure that is that when I'm getting interviews, or when I'm getting an interview, say that, like a recruiter contact me and they say that I have an interview that is coming up, what I would first do is essentially ask, who my interviewers are, if they are not provided that information already. And a lot of the times they do provide this information, and they usually provide you with a, LinkedIn page or LinkedIn profile about the person that you're going to be interviewing. But if they don't really provide this information, I would say go ahead and ask that information from the recruiter that reached out to you, so that way you know exactly what you can do to do some little bit of research on the persons that you're going to be interviewing you. Right, so this is something that you will see when you start doing. You will start to feel a lot more comfortable in the interview, because you know a little bit about them, and you can essentially bring up what you know about them during the conversations, and help you essentially build more deeper rapport and connection with the persons that you are interviewing. Right, so it also makes it easier for the purpose of essentially interview, to know, like, somewhere you can is there a group of people that you can work with, do you like them, and whether they like you, right? So it's so much easier for somebody else to like us when we know a little bit about them, and then tell them that certain things that we found interesting about them, right? So one of the first things that I would do when you get an interview is make sure that in addition to doing the background research on the company, take time to do research on the interview. And essentially, first thing you should do is make a list of all the people that you are going to be interviewing. Especially you want to know their name and their title. And the next few things that I would say is that go through their LinkedIn profile and see if there's anything that you find interesting about them. Maybe write a couple of things, 2 to 3 things that you find pretty interesting about some of the experiences they had, and some of the tasks or responsibilities they had in previous roles, or in the current role. Right, in the current would be ideal. And you can say, I see that in the company you do this and that, and how is that experience like, and how did you learn it, or how did you come to do that kind of work. So when you show that level of interest, show that level of research that you have done, it really makes you more interested about what you have to say also. Right, so really talk about, really go through their LinkedIn profile and see if there's anything that captures your eyes, in terms of what some things that you find interesting about them, and write them down, and then bring it up during the conversations, if you can. And if you can, you a lot of the time, if it's a pretty good interview, if they are really interested, talk about their own experiences and want you to learn more about them, right? So do this step, right? Obviously, if you will see that a lot people will be more willing to talk with you and give you information that you need, and also that you can develop a really deeper connection with them if you were to do background research and mention to them a few things that you find interesting about them. Okay, so that's all I have for this video, and I'll see you on the next one.